you're asked to find the tangent value of 7 pi over 12. So to do this, what we need to do is find either two angles that add or subtract to 7 pi over 12. If you want to, you can convert this into degrees, but you should get used to working in radians, because when you do stuff in calculus, you'll always be working in radians. So what we're going to say is the following. We're going to say 7 pi over 12. There's a couple things we can do. We can notice that 7 is 3 and 4, so we could try 4 pi over 12 and 3 pi over 12. So let's see if these reduce to something that we do already know. So 4 pi over 12 is pi over 3, and 3 pi over 12 is pi over 4. Now, do we know, since we're going to use the sum, okay, so we found the sum of two angles. Okay, that gave us this value. What we're going to do is we're going to look to see what is the tangent formula for sum. So the tangent of alpha plus beta is going to be equal to the tangent of alpha. So we've already proven this. So now we'll just apply the formula. Plus the tangent of beta over 1 minus the tangent of alpha times the tangent of beta. So here's what I'm going to do. When I get these two values out for my angles, okay, so these guys hop over to here and here. I want to check, do I know the tangent values? Because my formula includes tangent, okay, only tangent. Do I know pi over 3 and pi over 4? So what I'm looking for is I want to insert the following. I want to say, okay, the tangent, if I let alpha equal pi over 3, and I let beta equal pi over 4, then I would have 7 pi over 12 is equal to the tangent of pi over 3 plus pi over 4. Using the formula then, this gives me the tangent at pi over 3 plus the tangent at pi over 4, that divided by 1 minus the tangent at pi over 3 times the tangent at pi over 4. So the deal is, when you do this out, you've got to make sure you know this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. If you don't know what the tangent at pi over 3 is or the tangent at pi over 4, then you got to go back and pick angles that you do know. So you need to find angles that add or subtract to this guy right here, but they have to be known angles on our unit circle. So, or angles that we know the exact value of. So what we're going to do is we'll grab those values off of the unit circle. So the tangent at pi over 3 is going to be just square root of 3. And the tangent at pi over 4 is 1. Let's draw that a little more straight. And that's 1 minus the tangent at pi over 3, which we know is square root of 3, times the tangent at pi over 4, which is 1. So let's see if we can't make this look a little bit better. The numerator, you could leave it as square root of 3 plus 1. I'm going to write it as 1 plus the square root of 3 because I like the square roots in the back, and this issue with addition here, that's commutative, so it doesn't really matter the order that I put things in. On the bottom, square root of 3 times 1 is square root of 3, so I've got 1 minus the square root of 3. Now, everyone knows that we can't leave square root of 3 in the bottom, or we shouldn't at least. We should rationalize the denominator. Rationalizing meaning make it into a value down here that can be written as a fraction. So what we're going to do is multiply top and bottom by the same thing, which is 1 plus the square root of 3. Okay, so let's put this over here. So I've got 1 plus the square root of 3 times 1 plus the square root of 3, which is 1 plus 2 square roots of 3 plus 3. And on the bottom, if I FOIL this guy out, I got 1 times 1, which is 1. Then the middle terms are going to cancel out. And I'm left with minus 3. So the numerator gives me 4 plus 2 root 3, and the denominator gives me negative 2. So when I do this out, if I divide everything by -2, I'm going to end up with a -2 minus the square root of 3. I don't like how that's written there, so we'll change that a little bit. So this number right here should be the tangent value at 7 pi over 12. So let's think about if that even makes sense. If I look at where 7 pi over 12 is, that's going to be, here's 6 pi over 12, right? Pi over 2 is 6 pi over 12. So it means I'm just a little bit more. So this obviously is going to lead down here. If you think about your unit circle, we come down here. Remember, this length of value is the tangent of the angle. Okay, so it's obviously a negative value. -2 minus the square root of 3 is also a negative value. So let's go ahead and check it with our calculator and see if that's right. So we've got negative, so 2, I'm just going to pull the negative up front, so 2 plus the square root of 3, so negative 1.73. And if we convert to radians, let's clear this out. What I've got is 7 pi over 12, which is going to be, let's see here, 7 times pi, okay, equals, now we'll divide that guy by 12. So 1.83 radians. Okay, and that makes sense, 1.83, so we're almost 2 radians out along our circle right here. So 1.83, and now I want the tangent value at that, and that gives me negative 3.73. So let's go back and check to make sure that I wrote that other one down wrong, or right. So 2 plus the square root of 3 is 3.73 there. So I had to hit equal there. 3.73, so that does make sense. Negative 3.73 approximately. Okay, so this is good. If you just notice right there, it's good to check your answer to make sure that you are getting. Now, again, if I do that, if I go back and I redo that value, that was 7 times pi times 7, and we divide that by 12, and then we take the tangent value of that, we get our negative 3.73, or 3732.